Welcome to the programme. We're live. You're watching France 24, an extended programme tonight with me, Gavin Lee, reflecting the greatest sporting achievement of Paris Saint-Germain Football Club and the parades that follow as we wait to see the players lift the trophy in front of one of the most iconic monuments in the world. Around 90,000 supporters, spectators are here for the moment to see their club in its finest hour. History made on the pitch, beating Arsenal 4-3 on penalties in Budapest to win the UEFA Champions League final. The biggest tournament in European football, only the second team in the modern era to retain the trophy. And a personal chapeau moment for their transformational Spanish coach, Luis Enrique, who arrived at the club 3 years ago, saying he only spoke a few words of French, classed now as one of the GOATs of football management, according to the players last night.
It's amazing, there's no words for that. I think there's a few teams that did it 2 times in a row. It's unbelievable. For me, personally, I'm 21 years old and I never lived this before. And I think it's amazing, and like I said, every time we just enjoy to play football, and our coach is unbelievable. We do what he asks us to do. And I think that's the best way to achieve trophies, to achieve victories.
To the other side of this story, and the reason there are extra police mobilised today, 6,000 deployed for the victory parade, is because of another night of shame for supporters, those associated with the club, for these scenes. The celebrations of the French capital turning to violence, public disorder in Paris. Well, cars torched, shops damaged, fireworks used against the police, hundreds of arrests nationwide, more than 200 people injured, including dozens of police.
Most of the fans are well-meaning, but alongside them there are also individuals with very malicious intentions and don't hesitate to shoot firecrackers at our colleagues or attack them directly.
We will follow the parade and the key moments today. The players have arrived. They're very close to the Eiffel Tower right now. They're in the École Militaire, which is just a couple of 100 metres away or so. So that will begin very soon, as you can see from the crowd. They're going to meet the President too at the Élysée Palace in a short while. So we'll keep you across events developing, not just there, but elsewhere in the world too, coming up. Let's first meet the panel. Emily Boyle is from the France 24 Sports Desk. Good evening, Emily.
Good evening.
Let's also bring in the independent sports broadcaster, presenter Thando Sibiya. Evening, Thando.
Good evening.
Shirli Sitbon is our international affairs editor. Good to see you, Shirli, as always. And to Brazil, the renowned football pundit Tim Vickery, offering the long view from Latin America and warming up for World Cup commentary too. Good evening to you, Tim. Well, let's start with James Vasina, who is among the crowds.
With you and your illustrious panel.
Thank you, Tim. We'll be with you very shortly. Let's go to James Vasina first, and among the crowds under the Eiffel Tower. Good evening, James. Give us a sense of what's happening.
Well, we're here in Pisa on the Champ de Mars, which is the park in front of the Eiffel Tower. We've been here for a good 3-4 hours now, as have been tens of thousands of people. There is 90,000 people is the number we're given. People who are waiting here for the players to arrive. We've had a number of DJs, etc., and MC go throughout the afternoon. But now, everyone's been waiting. I mean, their departure from Budapest was delayed, and you can kind of feel that, to be honest, with the fans right now, who basically just want to see the players arrive and walk along what is a 600-metre red, not just red carpet, but red and blue carpet in the colours of Paris Saint-Germain. We're told that they are just behind, just at the top of that, set to arrive in the next few minutes. We're waiting for the bus is here, the coach is here. But for now, no sight of the players.
What's the ambience here?
It's a matter of waiting for the master ceremonies at the moment, as is for the fans and for us as well, as they set them to make their way along the red and blue carpet for all the Brighton fans who are here, who've been able to come here because a fixed number of fans allowed in. It was no more than that. So they've been waiting here for a few hours now and waiting for this moment to be able to welcome the twice champions of Europe then in this case. And should be just a matter of a few minutes now. It's been a bit tough throughout the afternoon because we had a bit of rain, which kind of dampened a bit of the mood, but the sun's back out now, so hopefully it's going to be like that. So we should be just a few more minutes until they arrive with us.
James, we'll be back with you very shortly. As we watch these scenes, as people wait, like we do, for the players to come through. Thando, just frame this for us, the achievement on the pitch last night.
2 times, back to back, it's big. You look at the players who have come in and out of the locker room at PSG. We're talking about the likes of George Weah, one of the greatest to ever do it, 1995, FIFA World Player of the Year, first African and only to date African footballer to win the Ballon d'Or. He came in, he didn't manage to get a Champions League victory. And here you have, like you saw the images earlier, a João Neves of 21 years old who's done it twice. This tells you about the evolution of football and just how much it means that these are the underdogs of football, and they came and turned around this result twice. Last season was even the biggest shocker because building up till match day 5 of the Champions League, this wasn't expected that they would make it all the way. But to do it a second time consecutively with opponents such as Liverpool, a Bayern Munich that was incredible in offense, Arsenal in defense. Exactly. And Arsenal, who's been the best defensively in this Champions League, and then go on to win it. It's huge. It means so much for Paname, which is Paris. It's beautiful. I think when we were watching the visuals earlier with the helicopter view and aerial view of Paris, you just see the architecture of it, the Haussmannian buildings, and then also just having the scooters snaking their way through the city. It kind of creates this paradoxical thing and an identity or a mirror onto Parisian society and what it's like. So yes, we see the negative sides of the clashes and burning of bicycles, but I think when we shift our gaze to the beautiful side of it, what this means to Parisians, for the longest time since the 90s, they've been disrespected in French football by Marseillaise for so long, saying that you're not a real football club. You don't really own football. You've never touched Champions League with the true champions of France. And now, all these years later, PSG have done it, and twice. And that puts a huge amount of respect, not only on Parisian football, but on French football altogether.
Emily, I was driving to work 2 weeks ago, got stuck behind the Paris Saint-Germain bus. And I was thinking, as we're all stuck in traffic for about half an hour, there must be worth €1 billion worth of players on that bus alone. But it is worth saying this time, because a lot of other fans who all say, let's face it, whatever club you support, they are the best club to you, no matter what. Full stop, punto final. But for this team, they've done it without, many would say it was star player not long ago, Mbappe. Kylian's not there. What's your take?
Yeah, well, I think it's just speaks to the project that Luis Enrique has put in place in the club since he arrived in 2023. Mbappe left the summer after he arrived, and that really changed the game. I mean, I know that when Nasser Al-Khelaifi arrived, he approved billions of spending in buying huge names. They bought Neymar, they bought Messi, they had Mbappe, and you had those 3 stars, goats in their own right at the front, and it didn't translate into real achievement. And then you have Enrique come in 2023, and he has a completely new vision for the club. And instead of catering to egos, he caters to a collective, and that's really something that we could see last night. It's a team that has a lot of experience playing together. If you look at the 10 outfield players that started last night, it was the same as the 10 who started in last year's final in the 2025, apart from, of course, the goalkeeper who was Safanov this evening. And you can just see that this is a well-oiled machine, and it's something that's been on the cards and developed by Luis Enrique and his brilliant coaching mind. Absolute strategic masterpiece, and what beautiful football they play. It's just such a delight to watch them play. I was lucky enough to see that semi-final live with Bayern Munich, and I don't think I will ever see a football game like it. It's just a beautiful team.
And when you bear that in mind, Tim, what Emily's just said, and you look at Luis Enrique, who 3 years ago said, "Perdona, discúlpame, no hablo franchuti," and yet his ability. I'm intrigued as to how he built up that conversational skills, whether he spoke in English on the pitch, Spanish to the players in training as he learnt and has improved his French, because now, he is up there with the best of them, Tim.
The international language of football, I think. I'm told that one of the first things that he said when he joined the club was to Neymar, who was going to Saudi Arabia. And he said, "You know what? I'm glad you're leaving." Now, that Paris Saint-Germain star-heavy model didn't work. The beautiful thing, and I agree entirely with Emily and her analysis, is here the team has made the stars. Kvaratskhelia, not going to try that one again. That's hard without a running jump, saying that name, the Georgian. But how many people knew him before Luis Enrique got their hands on him? Dembele was seen as an underachiever before Luis Enrique got his hands on them. He has wielded them into a wonderful unit. And if yesterday was a war of attrition, that wasn't the fault of Paris Saint-Germain. That was because the winners of the Premier League, the most competitive championship in the world, the winners of the Premier League were not comfortable taking on PSG in an open fight and could only do it by covering up and being on the back foot. And the way that Arsenal approach this game, I think, is a backhanded tribute to the beautiful side that Luis Enrique has formed. Speaking whatever language he speaks in the dressing room, the language of football speaks beautifully through his team.
Now, Emily said a moment ago, GOATs. Is GOATs an oxymoron? If you're the greatest of all talents or greatest of all time, can you have more than one? And therefore, is he the GOAT?
No, obviously you can't. It's a wonderful point. And why do we always have to do this? Because so often this becomes adversarial of one GOAT candidate, his supporters attacking the candidate of another GOAT candidate. Why can't we just enjoy what we've seen over the last 2 years? Because it's been beautifully refreshing what he's done. You could compare it against the Guardiola Barcelona of a few years ago, which I think is the most obvious comparison. Many great sides from the past. Let's not have one attacking the other. Let's enjoy them.
If, Emily, and in fact, let's go to your take first, Thando. If there was a spy in the midst, circa Sunderland in the English FA Cup, they got somebody with their mobile phone to film another team playing. I think it was Southampton, actually, wasn't it, Tim? Was it Southampton Middlesbrough? To which, if somebody was in and filming PSG, what is it? What is in the secret sauce about the school of Enrique? What's he doing that's different?
Creativity. And I think it's the fearlessness of it. I mean, if we break down the tactics of it, I think we should leave it to the professionals. And I would actually love to get into his mind and understand how he operates from a tactical perspective. But I think building from the middle, using the wings, I do think that is how PSG played. And if we watched yesterday, that was where most of the first chances started out. The middle field was blocked. There was a huge block in the middle of the park. Well, not the middle, but that whole straight, the vertical part of it. And I think also Arsenal made it really difficult by parking the bus over there. So the chances of crossing over into the box were kind of neutralized. And I think that was a very good studying of the game or reading of the game from the Arsenal defense, but it wasn't necessarily effective. Like Tim said, Arsenal weren't the opponents that came in there to try and beat the daredevils that Bayern Munich were in the semi-final, which was to play an open game and take the risk of being taken on by the daredevils that is PSG. But I think a key player that we didn't speak about, and I'm glad he had an interview here, was João Neves. And I think when you try to break down the philosophy or whatever is happening at PSG, you have engines, you have motors, you have fresh legs. You look at the average age of the squad that played yesterday, it was 26 years. Arsenal had the same as well. But when you look at the players on the field, you have João Neves, who's 21 years old. You have Desiree Doué, who's 20, also another second Champions League for him as well. Those are guys who can run a whole 120 minutes, be creative, continue to attack. And so it's the hunger, it's the creativity. That guy has an engine of I don't even know what. In South Africa, we had Dr. Khumalo. And we call him a V6 engine, because that's the kind of reference that you have on what the guy has on him. So he's been compared to the likes of N'Golo Kante, of the French midfielder, one of the greatest, perhaps his last World Cup, the next that's coming up. With Didier Deschamps, perhaps they'll both be bowing out. That's something that we'll see in a month's time. But I do think that when you look at that hunger, pace, fearlessness, and just a tactical work of art that was put together. But yeah, like I said, we should leave it to the professionals, because I really think that's something worth studying. And like we've studied the likes of Johan Cruyff, Pep Guardiola was mentioned. Luis Enrique is definitely a mind that we have to look into, that what he's taken and done with total football and transformed it into this Parisian French style, bringing in defenders from Ecuador, having the French being blended. Like, you do ask yourself, what language did this guy speak in the locker room to actually communicate the message that he's trying to relay? Because how?
And to that point, it's also about managing egos as well, Emily. Let's go through some of those key players in this team. So Kvisha, the Georgian winger, Kvaratskhelia, not the easiest name, as Tim said, to pronounce, but Kvisha says, basically he's been key, according to Enrique, that he's basically been just devastating this Champions League and been given a key role. The Ballon d'Or winner, Ousmane Dembele, the heartbeat of the whole system, I would say, for Luis Enrique. I'd like you to tell us why. I also want to mention one more name, Marquinhos, who, as Brazilian captain as well, could have an honour in this World Cup. If he wins the World Cup, he would be only the second player to win the European top competition and the World Cup in the same year. I'm going to ask Tim in a minute who the other one is, but Emily, just your take on managing egos in that squad.
Yeah, I think also talking to Thando's point, another clip that went viral when Luis Enrique showed up at PSG was a conversation he had with Mbappe, and he said, "We know you're the greatest on the ball. We know you're the greatest in attack. But dude, you have to defend. You have to defend if you want to be the greatest player ever." And then you had clips going viral last year's final when PSG were up against Inter Milan, and you had Dembele eyeing up Jan Sommer in goal, looking like a hungry lion. He was always licking his lips at the edge of the box, waiting for him to make a move. That was how aggressive the press is and how demanding the work rate is. And these are players also who are able to be benched. We've seen one of the things that I think Luis Enrique has done marvellously over the course of the season is manage his players and manage injuries, manage playing time. I think if you took the average starting 11 between PSG and Arsenal, there was a difference of 7,000 minutes in terms of minutes played over the course of the season. Now, you can also make an argument that the Premier League is an extremely demanding league, of course, and that you need your best 11 every single game, which is a fair point, but I think the fact that Luis Enrique has players who not only are hungry, not only press like lions, but also are willing to understand that they need to be benched when they need to be benched and not start a game and rest, I think is just testament to, as you said, managing a collective rather than an ego-based team. And I think it's done just wonders. And yeah, Dembele is kind of the soul of this offense, but Kvaratskhelia, 10 goal contributions, 7 goals, 3 assists before this final. And then you also saw the 3 that you mentioned yesterday were taken off as substitutes, and you could see them cheering on the sidelines as well. So they're also part of the leadership of this team, but they understand where their place is and they're willing to make sacrifices for the team. And I think that's why they've been so successful.
Let's just take a listen. Because the players are starting to arrive and going through the crowd. Let's have a listen to the scenes as they do. Coming out somewhere, we can see them amidst the red smoke, and the fans doing what they can, climbing on whatever they can to see them. So this is about a 200 or so metre, I believe, walk, so it shouldn't take too long to get to what used to be. There we go, we're seeing the trophy. Can we work out who's got it,
I think that's
Emily?
Dembele.
I think Dembele's got the trophy?
I think that's Dembele, yeah.
And so they are heading for what used to be, it's Luis Campos with the trophy, what used to be the back pages of the newspapers all tomorrow morning. Now it is about scrolling your socials. This is the Instagram image coming up, the trophy underneath the Eiffel Tower. Tim, just while you were listening to that, and I did pose a brief question to you in the midst of this, which was about Marquinhos, potentially if he wins the World Cup and having just won the European trophy. There's only one other player to have ever done that in the world. Who was it?
It gets worse and worse. I'm going to try a bet there with Capoue.
It was Franz Beckenbauer, 1974 with West Germany. You were going to say that. I'm sorry we had...
No, I wasn't. But just to speak about the total footballers and look at the quality of the players who are walking away with those accolades, and all these years later, look at where we are.
Thando, what do you think it means for the players, for those you know, those you've been following for some time? Just pick through that lineup for me and what you think this individual achievement means.
It means so much, but I like that you mentioned Luis Campos, because we've been speaking about him quite a lot in this build-up, building up to the final, after the final, the 2023 project. This is something also that needs to be studied, because this is the guy who went and fetched Pacho from Ecuador. This is the guy who had him flown out to to Madrid. And then apparently, we need to get this fact checked correctly, but when he brought him out to training and he Luis Enrique had a conversation with Pacho. In the first moments, the first exchanges, they were already speaking tactics. And I think when you were tapping into or asking me what we have to understand when we're getting into the mind of Luis Enrique, it's the football IQ. I think when he has a conversation with a player, he gets to understand what's in the mind of a player so that he understands if then this player will understand my philosophy, will understand my brain and what I'm trying to translate on the football pitch. And it's these intricacies, the building ups from these things. And so the likes of Luis Campos and the players are always handing the trophy off to him. When they landed, I think it was Marquinhos who was the first guy who stepped out of the plane, holding the trophy, walked down the stairs and handed it over to him. And so it tells you how much it means to them and they understand who is responsible for this. It's a team effort. It's so beautiful. Yesterday, I referred to it as a symphony. It's something musical, poetic. It's very beautiful, and especially because these are the youngsters. When we see visuals of the people who are in the streets, yes, the riots and all of that, but if you look at the majority of the people who come out to support when these players win, it's youngsters, it's their age mates. And so this is very big. It gives them something to look forward to. It makes you see that it's possible, because if João Neves can do it twice even, I can do it too. And so development of a new football culture. These guys are disciplined too. There haven't been much scandals that have been surrounding these players. So they've managed to not only inspire football, they've inspired a society too.
And these are the images that the team and the supporters will want everybody to see around the world. The reflective glory underneath the Eiffel Tower, Luis Enrique leading the team. And Shirli Sitbon, I want to bring you here in a moment, because we're talking about 90,000 people here in this crowd. There are 6,000 police and reinforcement officers to secure this for very good reason. This is a challenge.
Yes, and actually, if anything goes wrong, PSG will be the one to pay the bill. Apparently, that was the agreement. Not everything that happened before, of course, in Paris overnight, but anything that happens now, because that is their event, their celebration, and that was the deal. And the limit was 100,000 people there on site.
La meilleure équipe d'Europe 2026.
Let's take a listen.
Juste avant de vous présenter cette incroyable équipe qui nous fait tant rêver et qui nous fait encore rêver, qui nous fera rêver, je vous demanderai s'il vous plaît d'accueillir celui qui est l'artisan de ce parcours, pardonnez-moi, depuis son arrivée en 2011 à la tête du Paris Saint-Germain. Merci d'accueillir le président du PSG, Monsieur Nasser El Khelaifi.
Bonjour, madame et monsieur. Aujourd'hui, on a champion d'Europe. Back to back. 12 étoiles sur le maillot de Paris. Merci beaucoup à vous. C'est important aussi, parce que vous êtes tout le temps derrière l'équipe. Merci les joueurs. Vous êtes legend. Vous rentrez de legend, je dis comme je dis. Merci le coach, le staff, Luis Campos, le meilleur advisor du sport. Merci, vous êtes les meilleurs supporters au monde. Ça, pour les meilleures villes au monde, Paris.
The best team in the world.
Best team in the world there.
S'il vous plaît, célébrez aujourd'hui calmement.
We should celebrate today
On va célébrer et protéger notre ville.
to protect and celebrate our city,
Paris,
the city of Paris.
Après tant d'années, des galères, des combats, on porte pas IEG, on va séquencer la va plus fort. Lolo. Merci d'accueillir
Please
celui dont le nom
welcome
rime avec fidélité et amour du maillot,
the man
notre
who carried the
capitaine
jersey,
Marco Correa. Capitaine.
the captain of the PSG team.
Salut tout le monde! Faites du bruit!
Hello everyone.
On est champion d'Europe, back to back!
We're the champions of Europe.
Un grand merci! Merci tout le monde!
Many thanks
J'espère que vous
everyone.
étiez sages. Soyez sages encore aujourd'hui. Comme ça, vous fêtez encore.
Be
encore
good
tous ces
today
titres.
so we can celebrate in peace and
Vous êtes les
happiness.
meilleurs au monde. Regardez-moi ça! C'est incroyable!
We are the best
C'est
and we want to do this again.
Merci beaucoup!
Many thanks.
Allez, on va fêter! Vamos!
Let's celebrate.
Faites du bruit!
Vous allez
Champion,
pouvoir.
mon frère! Champion, mon frère!
We're the champions of Europe.
Champion, mon frère!
Et vous allez pouvoir applaudir
And in a
les
minute,
acteurs de ce succès un par un qu'on va
you
vous
will be
présenter.
able to
Ils vont pouvoir s'avancer
applaud
sur la scène, mais évidemment avant,
the actors
nous allons
and the authors
demander
of the
au directeur
success.
sportif
One
Luis
after the
Campos
other,
et
they
Luis
will be
Enrique de
here.
s'avancer. Applaudissements pour Luis Campos et Luis Enrique et tout le staff du Paris
Let's thank not
Saint-Germain.
just the team, but all the staff around them.
Nous allons maintenant, et vous allez pouvoir applaudir,
And so
celui
now,
qui est Ballon d'Or africain de l'année 2025,
we welcome
notre numéro 2, Achraf.
the Golden Ball for 2025. Number 2 on the team.
Avec son numéro 4, défenseur brésilien qui nous régale au poste de milieu de terrain
And the
cette
number
année.
4.
Notre numéro 4, Lucas. Première saison en rouge et bleu et premier sacre européen pour lui. Notre numéro 6,
Ilya, the number 6, for his first season.
10 buts en Ligue des Champions cette saison. La Géorgie est sa nation. Paris est devenu sa maison. Notre
Georgia,
numéro
Paris
7,
became his
Victor.
home.
Notre milieu de terrain qui fait danser toutes les
On
défenses
midfield,
adverses. Notre numéro 8,
number
Fabian.
8.
C'est une des pièces maîtresses de l'attaque parisienne, souvent décisive dans les
One of
dernières
the key
minutes de match.
pieces
Avec son numéro
in
9,
the Paris attack.
Gonzalo.
Gonzalo Ramos, our striker.
Présenter ce joueur dans les moindres détails aurait pris beaucoup trop de temps.
It would take a lot
C'est
of
tout
time
simplement le
to
meilleur
present
joueur du
every
monde en
detail of this
2025.
player.
Avec son ballon d'or,
with
notre
his
numéro
golden
10,
ball.
Ousmane.
Ousmane Dembélé, our right winger.
Ousmane.
Ousmane.
Non, on m'a dit. Ousmane.
I was told you were the best. Say something, Ousmane.
Comme tu veux. Ok.
All right.
Merci à tous pour votre soutien.
Many thanks to all for your support.
Une fois c'est bien, mais 2 fois c'est mieux pour le back-to-back.
Once is fine, but twice is better.
On revient l'année prochaine pour la
For the return
troisième.
match, we'll be back for the next season.
J'aime trop ce club. C'est ce
I
qu'il a
love this
déclaré à la
club.
presse hier. Vous aussi, vous l'aimez, ce
That's what he
joueur.
told the
Notre numéro
papers
14,
yesterday.
Désiré.
Number 14.
pied droit de talent,
a
un
talented
pied droit
right
de
footer,
génie et surtout un milieu de terrain incroyable.
an
Notre
incredible
numéro
midfielder,
17, Vitor Machado Ferreira.
Vitor Machado Ferreira.
Son pied gauche fait souvent la différence. Ballon d'or asiatique en 2025, numéro 19.
His right foot makes all the difference. He was the Asian golden ball in 2025.
You're watching France 24 with me, Gavin Lee, and the panel alongside me tonight on what is the greatest night in terms of the success. Two-time Champions League finalists and winners, back-to-back. Only one other team in the world has done that. And with me, let's first go to Tim Vickery, because this is going to take a while. We'll come back to the scenes and listen to what they have to say when they lift the trophy. But basically now, for the next 20 minutes or so, they'll go through each and every player. Tim Vickery, if you had to surmise how Paris Saint-Germain are seen as in a sporting sense to other clubs around the world, whether they're a good team to watch, a disciplined team to watch, compares to the greats of the past, how would you frame it?
I would say that the whole image of the club has changed remarkably in this time of Luis Enrique. Before he took over, they were seen as parvenus, and they were seen, maybe harshly, as not entirely legitimate, a plastic club full of big ego stars. Maybe that's a little bit of disrespect to the history and tradition of Paris football, but that's certainly the way that they were seen before. Now they are seen in a completely different light as the most attractive club side in the world, I think. And look at Emily mentioned earlier on the semi-final between them and Bayern Munich. Two sides committed to attack with lots of talent, just going at each other for the full 90 minutes. It was a wonderful, wonderful spectacle. It is impossible, I think, now in 2026, if you are a football fan, it's impossible not to want to see Paris Saint-Germain. Such an admirable side. I mean, the Portuguese midfielder, just been mentioned there, Vitinha. Before he went to Paris Saint-Germain, he was playing for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now, with all due respect to the Midlands of my native country of England, that's not really a place where you expect global stars to be plying their trade. And look at him now; he's the thermometer of the team. He's the man who looks to set all of these moves in motion. So Luis Enrique has taken a collection of players and wielded them into a wonderfully exciting team that football fans all across the globe want to see for good reasons. And so it's been a dramatic change. And just following the international press and their coverage of Paris Saint-Germain, how it's changed, not only with the play on the field, but also there's a recognition that there is a very strong fan culture there. That there are, although it's a new club, it is now, I think, seen in the global eye as a great, legitimate club, a true giant. What fascinates me is how long Luis Enrique will be able to keep up, and whoever takes over from him if he goes, how they will be able to maintain level of almost crazy intensity at which they play, because triumph after triumph after triumph, this must be tiring. I wonder how long all teams have a shelf life. I wonder how long the shelf life of this team will be. But if that shelf life ends today, they have left their mark, they have made a wonderful legacy, and they have changed the way that Paris Saint-Germain is seen all across the world.
There's a difference between a successful team, Tim, and a likeable team, Tim. If you're watching in a bar in Brazil with your friends, who were they supporting last night? Were they gunning for Arsenal or for PSG?
There are lots of Arsenal fans in Brazil. They were seduced by the Arsene Wenger side at the turn of the century when the Premier League got big in Brazil. But I think yesterday, and I have to declare an interest, Gavin, my affections are at the other end of the Seven Sisters Road. So I was delighted with the outcome yesterday. But Paris Saint-Germain also have a huge fan base over here, perhaps even more now. And just remember that touching scene at the end with Marquinhos who knows all about missing penalties. He missed a penalty when Brazil were eliminated from the last World Cup. Marquinhos consoling Gabriel Magalhães of Arsenal. Well, part of that is from now, the two of them are together
Tim, I'm going to
as Brazil's centre-back partner.
and say goodbye to you because I know you've got to go as well. But let's just return. Thank you, Tim, to these scenes as they lift the trophy underneath the Eiffel Tower.
One more time.